Welcome to Live Interactive English. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike.
I'm Rainbow.
And we are back on our bikes. We're bike shopping, part 2 today. Yesterday, we were with Gary, and he was getting himself a new mountain bike. That's right. He was going to be conquering the mountains and the forests and the off-road trails of Taiwan with his helmet, his water bottle, his repair kit, all his accessories on his bike. That was really great. But that was, kind of sport biking, adventure biking, extreme biking, I guess you could say. But today we're going to be looking at a different type of biking. This is something I've never done. Every single bike that I have ever used required me to make all of the power. Right?
Oh,
and I know you have a U-bike, right? When you go out,
or we gotta make our own power too.
You use the U-bike, right? I have a V-bike, which means it's my bike. But I have to make the power using my legs and my muscles. But of course, today we also have e-bikes, which means the bike has kind of an engine.
It moves by itself and you just stand on it?
Well, not quite. There's actually a few different styles of them, as I learned from our article. This is something I've never really used, but I've seen people using them. In Taiwan, the U-bikes that we use around the city, you make the power, right? You push the pedals around with your legs. That's how it goes. But I know in other cities, especially in some big cities, maybe like New York, London, they have more of these e-bikes.
Cool.
A lot of tourists like them, and they can use them to travel great distances around the city, visiting museums and that kind of thing. But you can also buy them, you can own them, you can have them here. But depending on what you want to do with the bike, depending on how strong and fit, young or old you are, there might be different bikes that are better for you. So let's find out all about the newest bikes, the latest bikes, the future of bikes.
E-bikes.
Fiona enters a bike store and a clerk greets her.
Hello, how can I assist you today?
Hi, I'm looking for a new bike. I used to ride my classic bike to work every day, but it's broken now. I'm thinking of switching to an e-bike.
That's a great choice, especially for daily journeys. E-bikes provide extra power and make longer rides easier. What's your commute like?
It's about 7 kilometers each way. There are some hills.
For that distance and terrain, I'd recommend a model with a good battery life and a reliable motor. Let me show you some options.
All right, so in the first part of day 2 of looking at bike shopping, we are replacing an old bike. You have a bike, it's kind of not so good anymore, a little boring, a little broken, just out of style, man. You gotta get a new one. So that's what you're doing when you replace it. Fiona is the one getting a new bike. She enters a bike store and a clerk greets her.
Hello.
New bike, new day, new Fiona. I'm so excited.
And she is excited too because she's gonna replace her bike. So when we replace something, it's gonna be old, it's gonna be broken, it's gonna be out of style, or maybe you just want a new feeling and a new energy, a fresh start. My car is old. I really should replace it. It still runs, but it's not running great anymore. I want to get a new one to replace it.
All right, so the clerk sees her come in, and the clerk is very professional and greets her, welcomes her by saying, "Hello, how can I assist you today? How can I help you today? What do you want, lady?"
Hi, I'm looking for a new bike. I used to ride my classic bike to work every day, but it's broken now. I'm thinking of switching to an e-bike, which means I don't want to spend so much energy on my bike every morning. I want it to be like automatic.
Yeah, well, she had this bike. She obviously loved it and used it for a long time. But yeah, over the, like cars, like anything, over time, they get a little bit beat up, right? You've used them for many years, left them out in the rain, you know, maybe bumped into things. So time for a new bike, maybe an e-bike. That's a great choice, says the clerk, especially for daily journeys. Absolutely. E-bikes, like electric cars, they're kind of good for running around in the city. If you're going on long trips across the country, maybe not so good, but for daily journeys, going to work, going home, going to school, going home, going to the store, going home, that kind of thing might be perfect. E-bikes, the clerk explains, provide extra power and make longer rides easier. Basically, the e-bike has a motor and it will be doing some of the work so your legs can take a break. Now, he wants to know a little bit about exactly what kind of journeys and trips she takes. So he asks her, what's your commute like? All right, what's your commute? What is your daily travel to work and to home? What is that like? Here he doesn't really say, well, I go down this road and then I turn left at the bank and then I turn right at the park. No, he's kind of wondering how long does it take or how long is it on the, you know, on a map, for instance.
It's about 7 kilometers each way. There are some hills. That's probably why she doesn't want to use the classic bike, right?
Yeah, very good for your leg muscles, but can be tiring and can get you to work feeling nice and hot and sweaty and that kind of thing.
Every day.
And 7 kilometers, that's not a short commute. That's, you
How
know,
many minutes?
That's a pretty good, I have no idea, but, you know, that would be maybe halfway across the city. You know, that's a pretty good distance. He says for that distance and terrain, for 7 kilometers, and you're also uphill, downhill, I'd recommend a model with a good battery life and a reliable motor. So this is a little bit more than just riding to the, you know, the nearest shops and on a flat road or something like that. You need something a little stronger, a little more powerful, good battery life, it won't run out very quickly, and a reliable motor, because you don't want to be halfway up the hill and then the motor stops. That would leave you stuck. Let me show you some options.
Perfect.
So he has a few ideas already, and one of the things they'll definitely want is a good battery that has a long and powerful charge. A battery is a storage device for electric power. That's basically what it is. We can have batteries that we replace in things like a flashlight or a TV remote control. You buy the little battery, it has electric power in a chemical form inside, and when you plug it in and use it, it gets the power from the battery. And of course, many things now, like your headphones or your cell phone or your little speakers or your keyboard or mouse, they might have rechargeable batteries. You plug them into electricity, the battery gets power again, and then you can unplug it and run around and use the electric power that way. But either way, this toy runs on batteries. Yes, you don't plug it into the wall. It's not a gas-powered toy. It doesn't have a nuclear engine. It's just batteries.
So not only do we need a big battery, we need something that's very reliable. And that means something that doesn't fail you. It's going to work and it won't die. If a person is reliable, that means I can trust you to do what you say, to be here when you say you're going to be here, to finish the task that I've given you if necessary. And I don't have to worry. If a machine or a bike is reliable, I know it will work every time I start it. It's not going to be breaking on me every other day. It's going to be really, really efficient and work really well. Jack is the most reliable person I know. I can always trust him.
A reliable battery or a reliable motor will make the machine much easier and more enjoyable to use. A motor is something that creates power, often by using energy. So the energy might be in the battery, or the energy might come from burning gasoline in the case of cars and motorcycles. But the motor is what makes the power. It's what turns the wheels in your car, in your scooter, in your e-bike, or something like that. Motors work in very different ways. The jet engines on an airplane are different from the motor in a car, which are different from the big diesel generators we might have in a train or a boat, but they are all creating power to make things move. For example, the boat has a very powerful motor. Absolutely, it has to push its way through lots of water. All right, we'll take a break and then we'll come back with more about e-bikes, biking into the future.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们今天要继续来看2段关于选购自行车的对话。那第3段对话的小标题是 Replacing an old bike。替换旧的自行车，那这个动词 replace 它就表示替换、代替或是以什么取代。Mike 老师刚刚在描述车子破旧时，他有用到 beat up。beat 跟 up 之间有连字号，那就是可以形容破旧的。那么对话里面的主角 Fiona， 她现在在找一台新的自行车。她以前每天都骑她那一台经典自行车上班，可是现在车子坏了，她正在考虑要换成电动自行车。店员说这是很好的选择，尤其是针对日常行程，这个电动自行车可以提供额外的动力，让人骑得更轻松。那店员问 Fiona 说，平常她通勤是什么样的情况呢？Fiona 说单程大约是7公里，那沿途有一些山丘。哇，对于这样的距离和地形，店员就建议说要选择有良好电池寿命和马达可靠的型号。好，单字 battery 它就表示电池、电瓶。Mike 老师有提到 rechargeable battery， 那就是充电电池。老师在讲到这个电力储存时，他也有用到 storage 这个名词 storage，storage 表示储藏或是储存。下一个单字 reliable， 它是形容可靠的、值得信赖的。那么 motor 则是指发动机、引擎或是马达。Mike 老师刚刚有提到 diesel generator， 则是指柴油发电机。那我们继续回到课文中。
Fiona asks the clerk about 2 of the e-bikes in the store.
Could you tell me about the difference between these 2 e-bikes?
Well, this one is a throttle-controlled e-bike, which works more like a motorcycle. You don't have to pedal if you don't want to.
Sounds easy to use. And the other one?
The other one is a pedal-assisted e-bike. This only provides power when you're pedaling, offering a more traditional biking experience with an extra boost.
I see. So, is the pedal-assisted e-bike better for exercise?
It certainly is.
Then I'll take it. I like to get my blood pumping in the morning.
All right, we are still with Fiona. She is comparing e-bike models. Remember, she's looking for an e-bike, but as we've learned and as she has learned from the clerk, there are different types of e-bikes or electric bikes. That's, of course, what the E stands for. So as we read the beginning of this one, it says, Fiona asks the clerk about 2 of the e-bikes in the store. She knows that she wants one with a reliable and powerful motor, a reliable battery and a powerful motor, but there are several that will, fit that bill. There are several that will do that job. Now, which one?
Could you tell me about the difference between these 2 e-bikes?
So obviously they're looking at 2 of them, and the clerk points to one and says, well, this one is a throttle-controlled e-bike, which works more like a motorcycle. That's what we call that thing on a motorcycle where you twist it with your wrist and it gives power from the engine to the wheels. It makes you go slower or faster depending on how much you turn it. So yeah, it basically runs kind of like a motorcycle or a scooter. And here's a cool thing. You don't have to pedal if you don't want to.
You can just sit on it.
It has those things. You rest your feet on them. Normally, right, you turn those to make the bike go. With this one, though, you have the throttle. You don't even need to do that, which is great, but of course that will give you 0 exercise if that is your goal. So
Sounds easy to use. And the other one?
it's very easy to use. It requires no effort. Yeah, the other one is a pedal-assisted e-bike. So it's kind of a human electronic e-bike or electric motor. It's a combination, a partnership between your leg muscles and the motor in the bike. This only provides power when you're pedaling, offering a more traditional biking experience with an extra boost. So it's a little bit old-fashioned, a little bit modern. You do get a bit of exercise, but if you get tired or if you hit that big hill, the motor will pick up some of the effort and will do some of the work for you. A nice, a nice combination, a nice mix of the two.
I see. So is the pedal-assisted e-bike better for exercise?
It certainly is because, yeah, you do actually pedal, whereas the other one, you can just sit there and eat cake.
Then I'll take it. I like to get my blood pumping in the morning.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's part of it's part of the reason people like bikes, right? I mean, they're clean, they're efficient, but you also get your daily exercise while you're going to work or something like that. So there you go. I think she was going to be very happy.
You had a good choice.
On her pedal-assisted e-bike. Hopefully she wears a helmet and she's careful out there in the city streets because bikes are fun, but falling off a bike is not. So don't do that, but do come back and join us very soon for more great dialogues. Until then, be safe, be careful, look both ways, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
在第4段对话里 ，Fiona 在比较2款电动自行车款，希望能找到最符合她需求的自行车款。Mike 老师这时候用到一个片语叫 fit the bill， 他表示符合需要、正合所需或者是适合的意思。好，那么 Fiona 请店员说明2款电动自行车的差别。店员说，一款是油门控制的电动自行车，运作起来比较像机车，那如果不想踩踏板就不用踩了。另外一款则是电动辅助自行车，只有在踩踏板的时候才会提供动力，那它提供的是比较传统的骑乘体验，有加上额外的助力，所以呢，电动辅助自行车会比较适合运动。Fiona 说她喜欢在早上让身体活动起来，所以她决定要买电动辅助自行车。好，我们的单字 boost 在这边当名词，表示助推啊、提升、推动。而文中有用到 get one's blood pumping， 表示说让身体活动起来，促进血液循环。那 pump 当不及物动词，它可以指液体借由帮浦流动这样。好，那么这边一个重点要进入文法时间。好，这边我们来看看动词 get， 它可以表达使或是让的意思。那以下介绍3种用法。第一种是用 get 加受词 to 加原形动词，可以表达使让什么什么做某事，像是 He couldn't get the baby to stop crying， 他无法让宝宝停止哭泣。那第二个用法是 get 加受词加上 VING， 这时候是表达促使某人某事物开始进行什么什么。像身边的人如果常常在电脑前久坐，你可以对他说You really need to get your body moving more。 你真的该多让身体动起来了。好，那么第3个用法是 get 加受词加上过去分词 PP， 这是表达促使某项动作被完成。例如 She got her hair dyed yesterday。 她昨天去给人家染头发。好，那么以上这讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Fiona enters a bike store and a clerk greets her.
Hello, how can I assist you today?
Hi, I'm looking for a new bike. I used to ride my classic bike to work every day, but it's broken now. I'm thinking of switching to an e-bike.
That's a great choice, especially for daily journeys. E-bikes provide extra power and make longer rides easier. What's your commute like?
It's about 7 kilometers each way. There are some hills.
For that distance and terrain, I'd recommend a model with a good battery life and a reliable motor. Let me show you some options.
Fiona asks the clerk about 2 of the e-bikes in the store.
Could you tell me about the difference between these 2 e-bikes?
Well, this one is a throttle-controlled e-bike, which works more like a motorcycle. You don't have to pedal if you don't want to.
Sounds easy to use. And the other one?
The other one is a pedal-assisted e-bike. This only provides power when you're pedaling, offering a more traditional biking experience with an extra boost.
I see. So, is the pedal-assisted e-bike better for exercise?
It certainly is.
Then I'll take it. I like to get my blood pumping in the morning.
Hello everybody, today we are taking a trip to Mr. Brown Avenue. So you might have never heard of this word avenue before in English. Well, avenue is just another word for street. In fact, just like in Chinese, you have lots of different names for types of streets, whether they're small or whether they're big, and depending on what kind of traffic could go on it. So in English, we have, as we know, avenue. You could say boulevard, you could say street, you could say road, you could say court, and there's probably even more that I can't think of. Now, you might ask me, what's the difference between all these? Don't worry about that. You just learn it when you see the sign, and that's all you need to know. So let's get into today's lesson. Mr. Brown Avenue is a beautiful country road in northern Taidong County. This small road goes through golden rice fields. It has also been called Green Road of Paradise. Biking along the road is probably the best way to enjoy the view. Many people began visiting this spot after a famous television ad was filmed here. Now, that's very interesting. Now, many people come to take great pictures on Mr. Brown Avenue. It's very interesting that this place became famous after a television ad was filmed there. I'm from Los Angeles and I live very close to Hollywood. Now, there are so many famous places that are filmed because Hollywood is where all movies are filmed. So you can even take a bus tour that will take you to all the places that you've seen in the movies. So that's just an interesting fact, and I hope you enjoyed today's lesson.